And Senator John McCain, breaking news, announcing moments ago that he is a no on the Graham-Cassidy health care bill. It puts him at odds with Senator Lindsey Graham, who's often been one of his fiercest allies in the Senate. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Casey Hunt is here. She's getting mic'd up right now. She joins me in a second because this news obviously just broke a moment ago. But John McCain released a statement, and I want to read a portion of it. He says, "I cannot in good conscience vote for the Graham-Cassidy proposal. I believe we could do better working together, Republicans and Democrats, and have not yet really tried. Nor could I support it without knowing how much it will cost, how it will affect insurance premiums, and how many people will be helped or hurt by it. Without a full CBO score," remember the CBO said it would take weeks to score this bill, "which won't be available by the end of the month, we won't have a reliable answer to any of those questions." They want to get this done before September 30th. Obviously, that's the time frame that they can do it by only using a simple Republican majority, more than 50 votes, 51 votes. Casey Hunt is with me now. Casey, this shouldn't come as that much of a surprise. John McCain was calling to go back to regular order, to have hearings on something like health care, a bill as important as this, some bipartisan efforts there. That didn't happen. They were trying to ram this through.
It didn't. And I have to tell you, Katie, I am a little bit surprised that we're getting John McCain coming out front on this before we've heard from Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, before we've definitively heard from Susan Collins of Maine. I think that tells you a little bit about his thinking in context of what was going to unfold over the course of the next few days. Think about it. They have a huge hearing that is now scheduled for 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday. That was going to be the one public airing for this bill. McConnell, the majority leader, had said he intended to put it on the floor next week. That would have put it on the floor probably on Tuesday with votes Wednesday or Thursday, considering there's another Jewish holiday. But what this really does is throws up a quick stop sign in the road. And if you look at the vote count right now, if Murkowski and Collins were both to go ahead and say that they would vote for this, that of course would still allow it to go through. But I have a lot of trouble, and we here at NBC News are now reaching out again to Senator Collins and Senator Murkowski's staff to see if they have any updates here. But I am now would be extremely surprised if they got to the point where this would potentially have 51 votes. And I think the length of this statement that John McCain put out says that he knows that. And in some ways, I think he may be trying to spare his party another embarrassing showdown on the floor of the Senate. Now, the other thing is, he notes in this statement, the bill's authors are my dear friends, and I think the world of them. I mean, this is a difficult thing. We know that they have a strong relationship. Very strong. I mean, Lindsey, it would be fair to call Lindsey Graham and John McCain best friends in the Senate. I mean, they're often palling around together. Lindsey Graham was, of course, visibly upset when he found out that his friend McCain was battling cancer. They, are often spotted together. They're on the phone together. They really do pal around. And Lindsey Graham, I spoke to him a couple times last week. He was in a pretty unusual position with this bill. He is somebody who is out front publicly on a lot of things, but very rarely does he find himself in the position to be the one who's selling a major piece of legislation or has so much riding on something that he's doing. And it was pretty clear he was feeling the pressure late last week. So I think that this, it could put a strain on their friendship. I mean, I'm sure that McCain let Lindsey Graham know about this. I'm gonna double check this, but I would imagine that they were in communication before the statement went out.
A heads up on this.
That would be, the typical decorum here. But
you're right. I mean, it's a 7-paragraph statement. If you have big type like I do, it spans 3 pages. John McCain is, of course, one of the people who torpedoed the last attempt at health care in the Senate. What does this mean going forward? If this does, in fact, end up killing this bill, and now it's looking more likely, what does that mean for Republicans? Can they get anything done going forward?
Well, look, I think that the concern, and one of the reasons we saw this flare back up again the way it did, was there was a perception back at home over the August recess from a lot of people went back to their home states and districts, and they weren't just hearing from constituents. They were hearing from longtime donors, longtime supporters, people that they had known for years who said, hey, why can't you get anything done? And that changed kind of the prevailing mood on Capitol Hill around this. Now, I would say leadership is more inclined to fix that by trying to pass tax reform. They feel like, okay, a lot of these people that have been with us for a really long time, they'll forgive us if we can show them that we can pass a massive tax cut that will help them. That will ultimately demonstrate that we're past the failure of health reform. But there were obviously these voices inside the conference that wanted to try again on health care. Now, my read of the timing of this, and this is, again, just my analysis, and I should emphasize we're still making more and more phone calls about this, but, you know, this, I think, lessens the embarrassment potentially of having another very high-profile failure on the floor of the Senate. I mean, this is Friday afternoon, 2 o'clock. You know, we're heading into the weekend. Instead of spending the weekend in the Sunday shows talking about will they or won't they, and amping up kind of the pressure around this, and then having everything focused on it early next week, you know, this potentially diffuses it. It's still an embarrassing episode potentially. And again, we have to say, we don't know about Murkowski and Collins
We
yet.
don't know about Murkowski and Collins. Collins has said she's leaning no. Murkowski is being very tight-lipped about this.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.